What's going on, everybody? Steve V here with another video. Hope everyone's doing well out there, and I hope you guys had a fantastic New Year's, a safe and fun one with your family and friends. Now, this year, obviously 2024, we know we got some new cabinets coming sometime in the near future. We thought we'd maybe have some announcements by now with, this month being CES month, but they seem to not want to announce anything yet, which to me just means that they're probably finalizing some stuff. But either way, we know that some titles will be coming very, very soon. Now, what I wanted to do in this video was not necessarily kind of predict what I think will be coming out this year. I feel like there's going to be a ton of those videos. I thought it would just be fun to let you guys know my wish list. So I have 7 titles that I'm hoping Arcade1Up will do this year. Now, these 7 titles aren't necessarily titles that, were on the leaked list to come out, or things that have kind of been hinted to by Arcade1Up. These are just my 7 titles that I hope Arcade1Up does. I know at least one of them will probably be done this year. Whether it's done the way I want it, I don't know, but I will pretty much guarantee that we will see at least one of these titles, and it's going to be the first one I say. But other than that, the rest are kind of 50-50. We're going to see what happens. But again, this is my personal wish list, so hopefully you guys enjoy hearing what I'm hoping Arcade1Up will come out with this year. And if they do come out with these 7, these are the 7 that I have the highest chance of purchasing. Anything else, we'll see what happens. So we'll get started right now. I hope you guys enjoy the list. So welcome back to Steve V's Man Cave Arcade. As always, appreciate you guys coming into the Man Cave and hanging out with me for a little bit. It's greatly appreciated. I'm pretty close to 1,000 subs, so if you guys wouldn't mind, like, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed. Help a brother out. I'm really hoping to get to 1,000. I'm super, super close, so if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe, and hopefully I can keep on delivering some content that you guys enjoy. I know for a fact that probably my next video will be the review of my class of 81, which should have been built by now because I've had it for a couple weeks now, but obviously with Christmas and New Year's, it was kind of busy in my household, and I just didn't get to it yet. But when I do build this cabinet, I will review it, so that will probably be my next video. But we're not here for that reason. We're here to talk about my 7 titles that are on my wish list for 2024. Again, this is my personal wish list, so it's not like I have any info on if these titles are coming out or if, these are things that Arcade1Up is planning to make. All I know is I want them, and these have the highest chance of me, purchasing them for my Man Cave Arcade. So that's basically what this list is. So we'll start with number 1. And what number 1 is probably the most likely as far as Arcade1Up coming out with this particular title this year. But what might not be likely is it coming out the way I want it. And that is Miss PacMan. Again, we know they'll do Miss PacMan, but I want it in the classic blue, which is the way the original Miss PacMan looked. I want a recreation of Miss PacMan. Now, in 2023, we saw that they were doing a Miss PacMan Deluxe. And when they originally showed us the render, it was the classic blue. I got so excited when I saw that. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to have a classic blue Miss PacMan in my collection, which is what I wanted. Because at that time, Arcade1Up was kind of doing some custom Miss PacMans. There was the wood grain one, and there was the black one. Unfortunately, when they did finally pull the trigger and put out the Miss PacMan Deluxe cabinet, it came out in black. And don't get me wrong, it looks sharp, it looks nice. The black really makes the pink and yellow pop, but it's not the original color. It's not a recreation of Miss PacMan, and that's what I wanted. It's a custom Miss PacMan. So, in 2024, I'm hoping that if they do Miss PacMan again, which we know they will, whether it's another deluxe or an XL, I want it in that classic blue. That is what I'm hoping Arcade1Up will do this year, and that is my number one title and cabinet on my wish list. So coming in at number 2 on my personal wish list for 2024 is Frogger. Now you guys are probably thinking, Frogger, really? They did Frogger once before and it sucked. Well, in my opinion, it didn't suck. What did suck was the look of the cabinet. I wanted, again, a recreation of the original cabinet, and they went custom. Now, whether that was Konami's decision, which I'm pretty sure it was, or, Arcade1Up wanted to kind of make it look a little more modern. But again, I'm pretty sure it was Konami. It didn't really deliver, right? It had 3 great games: Frogger, Time Pilot, and Time Pilot 84. All 3 of those games are great. If you've played those games and you're a fan of, 80s classic score chasers, you're going to enjoy those games. Now, with Frogger, unfortunately, it does not have the proper music, so I know that kind of was a strike against the cabinet, but that's not Arcade1Up's fault. That's just because Konami can't use that song anymore. It has something to do with licensing. I don't know if it's a song that I guess was like a Japanese lullaby or something like that. That's what I've heard. So they just can't use that song anymore. So I don't hold that against Arcade1Up, but when you've already had to modify something, you should make the cabinet look as original as possible. So that way it's kind of like one of those things where you can kind of not look past, but you can digest it a little bit better, right? It's like, okay, the song's wrong, but at least this cabinet looks the way it's supposed to. But when they did the custom cabinet, they kind of lost me a little bit. But because I'm such a big Frogger fan, I still bought it and still enjoyed the cabinet. But is it still here in my collection? No. And that's because, again, I just couldn't get behind how it looked. There was some slight things on the cabinet that did kind of pay tribute to the original. A little bit of that wood grain on the side, and obviously Frogger on the side. But he wasn't doing the proper pose, The marquee was gray when it's supposed to be blue. Just little things like that, right? So I'm hoping that they do Frogger again. They do it in the proper cabinet. They make it look a little more accurate as far as, the shape, because it did have a very specific shape as well. And maybe add a few more games. I'm not an expert as far as, being able to tell you what games would fit well with that cabinet. I'm sure there's someone out there that could. But I do know, you have to put a little more than 3 games. But I am really hoping that they redo that cabinet and they do it well. And if they do, they got a buyer in me. So what comes in at number 3 as a cabinet that I would love to have in my Man Cave arcade in 2024 is a Q*bert cabinet. And this is one of the ones where a lot of people out there have been asking Arcade1Up for a long time to give them this cabinet. And before John D left Arcade1Up or got fired or whatever the whole situation was with that, he had let us know that they had that license. But for whatever reason, they didn't think it would sell well. If you're a fan of classic arcades, you're going to know who Q*bert is, and you've probably played Q*bert. Q*bert is up there with PacMan and Donkey Kong as, one of the more recognizable arcade characters in games. So I do think it will sell well. Now, I think because of the fact that they would probably just put 2 titles, it would be Q*bert and Q*bert Cubes. I think it would probably be better maybe in like a countercade form factor. But I'm not opposed to seeing it in a deluxe cabinet. Now, could they just put 2 titles on that? I mean, they did do Terminator with 1, right? So anything's possible. Either way, I feel like Q*bert is something that Arcade1Up knows the community wants. So I hope they listen and they actually do put it out, because when they've listened to the community, the community has surprised them, right? Tron sold really well. That was something that the community really wanted. I'm not sure how Dragon's Lair did, but that was something that, the community was asking for and they did. And I think it sold fairly well. So I feel like this is another situation where if they were to put Q*bert out, I do think it will sell quite well, because I feel like the community will get behind it, and it will be something that in the end Arcade1Up will see that it was the right move to make. So what comes in at number 4 for me is something that not a lot of people are asking for. I think I'm the only one that I've heard mention wanting this, but I think the possibilities are, somewhat kind of up there as far as happening because it would be a re-release, but just in a different form factor. And that is a Golden Tee 3D, but in a deluxe form factor. Now, I'm one of the rare people that prefer the deluxe form factor over the XL. And that's because the deluxe form factor is a size that is comfortable for my space. I do have quite a few Arcade1Ups here, and the deluxe just works perfect as far as, being able to fit it in there. It's 5 feet or a little over 5 feet, so it's a pretty good height, very comfortable to play for me, my family, and friends. It's got a width that still makes the cabinet look good, but obviously it's a little smaller, so that way, again, you can fit it in, a tight space with a bunch of other cabinets. So that's why I prefer the deluxe. And when they came out with the XL, I went back and forth on wanting to buy it because I love the game list. Those Golden Tee games mixed in with the World Class Bowling and the Shuffle Shot. I wanted those games, and I wanted to update my Golden Tee, but I just couldn't picture having an XL in my man cave. It was just too big. And then on top of it, knowing that screen was bad, here in Canada, that cabinet was $8.99. And I didn't want to spend $8.99 knowing that I would have to fix something out of the box. I want my cabinet to be perfect. And that's why I made the decision to not purchase that XL cabinet. And that's why I'm hoping they will redo that cabinet, but do it in a deluxe form factor, or maybe give us a more modern Golden Tee with, some classic Golden Tee games. And, I'd be cool with that too. I just know that I do want to update my Golden Tee, but it has to be a deluxe cabinet. So I'm hoping that Arcade1Up will do Golden Tee again in 2024. So the next title on my wish list is probably one of the most requested driving cabinets, and that's Daytona USA. Now, if they came out with Daytona, that is the title that I wanted from day one. So if in 2024 they somehow make that title happen, I will sell Ridge Racer and bring Daytona in because, even I can hear this song in my head right now. Daytona. Like, it's such a classic title, and it would just be something that I'm assuming they would make it a stand-up because I feel like the sit-downs are kind of out of question now. Obviously, the stool situation was not the greatest when they did it with Outrun. So I feel like it would be a stand-up cabinet, which I'm okay with. And obviously, the deluxe form factor, I think it would look really nice and very slick. So in 2024, if they are going to do a racing cabinet, which I'm assuming they are going to do, this would be the one that I want. So coming in at number 6 is one of my favorite beat-em-ups of all time. This is right up there for me with Turtles, Simpsons, and X-Men. And that is Sega SpiderMan. Sega SpiderMan is a title that I just really enjoy. It's a beautiful looking game, very fun to play. There's a barcade in my town that has a Sega SpiderMan, so anytime I go there, I always play that cabinet with my friends. This is a title that I don't know what they would pair with it. I just know I want it. And I want it to look like the original Sega Spider-Man. For some reason, I feel like if they were to make this cabinet, I feel like they would do the marquee proper, but the side was kind of plain. I don't know if they would try to get artsy-fartsy with it and try to make it look a little better. But I think it looked perfect the way it was. So I would love for them to do that 4-player Sega Spider-Man to make the cabinet look like the original cabinet. And, any games that they would be able to put with it would obviously be a bonus. But at the end of the day, it'd be Sega Spider-Man I would be playing all the time. So that is a title that I really hope comes out in 2024. So coming in at lucky number 7 is probably the title that has the least chance of happening. And it's kind of funny because Arcade1Up has actually worked with both licensees, but these are both huge licensees that probably demand a lot of control. They want their cut. They're not willing to share it. So that's what would make this kind of complicated because they've actually made a cabinet for one of these games, and then the other one they've made a similar version, but not the specific game I'm talking about. And that is the Sports Station cabinet, which is NBA Showtime. So not NBA Jam. They all obviously done all 3 jams. But this is Showtime and NFL Blitz 2000 Gold Edition, which they have done, but it was a modified port. I would love for them to do a Sports Station cabinet. This is probably one of the cabinets that I want the most, but I understand the chances of getting this cabinet is very slim because, again, I can't see NBA and NFL kind of partnering with Arcade1Up to make this cabinet happen. If anything, they're just going to keep on re-releasing the NBA Jam cabinet, which they've already done. They made a deluxe version, and NFL Blitz, which I'm pretty sure the next version will probably be like an XL. And I know for the most part, NBA Jam sold really well. And I think Blitz in the end did sell really well as well, but it's because it was on a discount, because Arcade1Up messed up. They put out that cabinet unprepared, right? It was supposed to have Wi-Fi, and it didn't have Wi-Fi right off the bat like it was supposed to. The games were really glitchy, so Arcade1Up only has themselves to blame for how they put out Blitz. They just bit off way more than they could chew at that time. They should have kind of held off a little bit and put that out when it was like ready to go. But I guess, they had to get it out by a certain time. But it ended up affecting their bottom line. And they made so many of those cabinets that now they're having to, heavily discount it just to make the move. But I'm a big fan of, man caves and bars. So I'm a fan of a lot of pages on Facebook that people kind of show off their man caves and bars and game rooms as well. And almost every single one that I've seen has either an NBA Jam cabinet, an NFL Blitz cabinet, or both. So I do feel like if they were to make a Sports Station cabinet, that would sell so well. They already have somebody that would buy one, and it would be to me. I would definitely pick one up. I have my old school NBA Jam. I would obviously sell that, and I would get this cabinet. But again, I know the chances are very slim, but it's on my wish list, and I really hope that they make it happen. And that's why I put it at lucky number 7. I was trying to put some good luck towards the chances of this title actually happening. So yeah, these are the 7 titles that are on my personal wish list for 2024. I really hope, all 7 of these come out, but even if I got like 2 or 3 of these and they were done the way I kind of mentioned them, I would be very, very happy. Again, none of these were on the leaked list, so I don't know. And I know that leaked list is kind of like an old list of what Arcade1Up was kind of hoping to work on. I know that's been modified a little bit too. So we'll see what happens. Obviously, the one that's 100% guaranteed is Miss PacMan, whether it's a deluxe or an XL. But we need that blue. We need that blue Miss PacMan. No more black. We've done the black. We've seen the black multiple times. Give us a damn blue Miss PacMan, a recreation. But other than that one, the other ones are all kind of 50-50. Obviously, again, I would love to see a Frogger done properly. Cubert would be fantastic. Sega SpiderMan, Daytona. These are all titles that just get me really excited, and that I would be very tempted to purchase in 2024. So that's my list. I hope you guys enjoyed the personal list that I kind of laid out as far as what I'm hoping for this year. Next time you guys see me will probably be that review for the Class of 81 Deluxe that is still in box. So hopefully I will build that this week. Other than that, again, I hope you guys had a fantastic new year, and all the best. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care.